and welcome to Barnabas's Boneyard. I'm your host, Barnabas, one half of the most fiendish podcasting duo on the internet, but now on YouTube. Welcome, one and all. If you are brand new here, let me give you a brief introduction. So, I am Barnabas. My partner Samael and I run the Grave Discussions podcast. We have produced over 100 episodes, and we consider ourselves the grave keepers of the horror community. So we cover pertinent topics about horror in film, TV, video games, just the general entertainment sphere. And then, we also do new movie reviews, cult classics. We cover all kinds of topics and have some really fantastic discussions. And, I think we're two of the most knowledgeable, culturally aware, and damn entertaining personalities in the entire horror game. So, if you are brand new to this channel, to Grave Discussions via the YouTube algorithm or any other algorithm, please check us out. I will have a kind of link repository down in the description of this video where you can check out our website, all of our episodes, our articles, and so much more. So, if you are a returning Grave Discussions fan, obviously this YouTube channel and this particular series are brand new to Grave Discussions. We have been slacking a little bit on the podcast content lately, due to life events. I mean, my co-host moved to a whole other state. We've both gotten very, very busy lately, so we haven't been able to produce as many episodes as we used to, but we still want to be relevant. We still want to be influential, and one way to extend that influence is to spread yourself across many different mediums and platforms. So we've been wanting to do YouTube for a long time now, but I don't know, it just felt like the right time to do it. And this particular series, Barnabas's Boneyard, was an idea of mine to get more content out at a more frequent pace. And occasionally, when Samael is unavailable or he's not able to see a certain movie or whatever, this is my chance to come on here and still provide a great horror experience for anybody watching, new and old fans alike. So that's the goal of this channel, to still put stuff out there for you guys and hopefully being as engaging as ever. So this inaugural episode of Barnabas's Boneyard is going to feature a review of a brand new horror film, M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin. All right, so obviously Knock at the Cabin came out this past weekend, as of this recording anyway. And, a lot of people were excited about it. As of this point, I think it has officially unseated Avatar 2 as the number one film at the box office, which is a huge accomplishment. Although granted, not much else has come out since that time to actually do that. But an M. Night movie, I'm not surprised. M. Night is more or less kind of an iconic director nowadays within the horror genre. Horror thriller, let's be honest. For a number of reasons. Usually his movies are entertaining, they're engaging, they're mysterious and interesting. And the big thing is that they usually feature some type of crazy, shock or twist. And that's kind of his calling card, between The Sixth Sense, The Visit, The Village, plenty of other movies. They all kind of featured that specific element to them. And many of those movies are just good movies in their own right, from the storytelling to the characterization to how they're filmed to the tension that they elicit. But I gotta say, Knock at the Cabin, just right off the bat, it's kind of average. So I don't want to give away like huge spoilers in this review. Sometimes on the podcast we give away spoilers kind of cover the breadth of the movie, really to get into the meat of everything that the movie or show or whatever consists of. But I don't want to do that with these videos. They're going to be shorter videos because it's just me. So really the goal here is to give my opinion, but not say too much to, not get you to want to watch the movie at all. Because at the end of the day, I want you, the viewer, to hopefully watch the movie of your own accord and form your own opinion. Doesn't matter whether I think the movie is good, bad, or in between, or whether it sounds good, bad, or in between to you. I'd still like you to watch the movie and form your own opinion, then come back and tell me what you thought. So that's the goal. But let me just preface as well by saying that I have not read the book that this movie is based off of, called The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul G. Tremblay. I did kind of read the plot synopsis of the book after the fact, and all I'm going to say is that I wish that M. Night was maybe a little bit more faithful to the book. What I do know is that the original screenplay was written by Steve Desmond and Michael Sherman, and then rewritten by M. Night. And that's pretty much the script that, they shot. And M. Night definitely takes some liberties with the script and actually makes some pretty significant changes, primarily to the final act of the story. And that was the biggest thing that I had an issue with. I know I'm kind of jumping the gun, but this is the most important part of this entire review to me. So I want to lay it all out right at the beginning. The final act is lacking to me. And I think it's because, the concept itself, these four strangers approaching this family kind of on vacation and asking them to sacrifice one of their own in order to prevent the apocalypse. The concept itself is pretty cool, but I personally prefer the way that it unfolds in the book. I think the actual execution of the approach that M. Night took is a little too honest, like a little too straightforward. It feels like, he was trying to satisfy kind of the general movie-going audience too much, and he didn't really hit the mark, at least for me. Because again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but the way that it unfolds is just, I don't know, predictable isn't the right word, but it's also not the wrong word. It's hard to elaborate without actually getting into spoilers. Again, don't want to do that, but that's the gist of it. Was not a fan of how that final act unfolded. Just thought it was too simplistic. I mean, too obvious maybe, and just ultimately unsatisfying to me personally. And with that, I will say, coupled with that entire point, is kind of a big deal. But the movie, you go into it expecting that, classic M. Night twist, not really there. You're going to walk away, I think, disappointed at that fact if you were looking forward to it. Which I think a lot of people probably will. A lot of people probably bought their tickets to this movie seeing M. Night's name and thinking that this was going to be another, M. Night twist. Doesn't really happen. That's the only kind of spoilerific thing I will say. Doesn't really happen. So those are the two big things kind of, tied in to one another that I think I have a problem with in the movie. Overall, though, the movie is pretty average. Dave Bautista, who plays Leonard in this film, is definitely the standout element. He does a phenomenal job, just exudes this menacing aura, even though the character himself is not inherently malevolent or anything, but he's just extremely determined and focused. And obviously it's Bautista, so he's a big, imposing guy. And so he just kind of, naturally gives off that intimidating sort of vibe. But his performance is fantastic. He's definitely the best pro wrestler turned actor out there, in my opinion. Sorry, Rock, but you know, you're great at what you do with your big budget blockbuster, action movies, but Bautista is able to deliver this really kind of visceral performance, and he's a really dynamic actor, honestly. He wants to be recognized as a great actor. I think he's on his way there. He's had some really great performances. This one, in my opinion, is one of his best. And not to knock any of the other actors in this movie too, they all do a great job. In particular, I think Ben Aldridge as Andrew, one of the protagonists, who are a same sex couple, is, in my opinion, the second best performance in this film, and I think he does a phenomenal job as well. So, all the actors are good. I have no problem with the performances. All of the other elements of the film are okay at best for me. The score is nothing really to write home about. The cinematography is fine. I do like a lot of the very personal close-ups as far as the cinematography goes, but nothing really unique or enticing with the cinematography goes, apart from that. But it was fine. It was shot, lit well, framed well, but there was nothing to really like grab your attention or, put in any, film history books or anything like that. So that's all I'll say about that, really. Editing wise, fine. Everything was okay. Performances were definitely the best part about this movie, and everything else was really just kind of average. As far as the actual story and its themes and everything go, I think they got kind of muddled. This movie really had the kind of configuration for a little bit more of a significant look at some kind of religious philosophical themes that could have been expanded upon more, especially considering that the protagonists are a same-sex couple. The way that the characters were written was really good. They weren't just like this trope of a gay couple. They actually felt like real people with a real backstory, with real feelings, that weren't just like a caricature of gay couples in film or gay characters in general. So that was approached well, but that was kind of the predominant thing, was the fact that they were gay being targeted by what they thought was like a crazy religious cult or whatever. I think that could have been paired with more of like a philosophical focus on, morality and everything. It was kind of there. Everything was kind of there. All the themes were hit upon multiple times throughout the movie, but it just felt like it could have been more focused. I don't know. Maybe I'm explaining it wrong, but that's kind of what I think, off the dome. And yeah, I just wasn't really a fan of how the story itself unfolded. The first two acts were pretty good. The tension was there. The atmosphere was fine. I wouldn't say it was riveting, but it was engaging. It was entertaining. But just the execution of the finale in particular, I was not a fan of. So, again, I don't want to ramble on for too long. Those are my basic thoughts on Knock at the Cabin. I do also plan on writing maybe a more detailed review on the Grave Discussions website, which is gravediscussions.net. But that's all I want to say about the movie for now. I want to keep it pretty short and sweet. And I do want to know what you guys think. So if you have seen the movie, leave a comment below with your thoughts. Let me know if they line up with mine, or if you have any different thoughts. I'd love to hear them and have, a good discussion about it. Otherwise, if you plan on seeing the movie, also let me know. I don't want to discourage anybody from seeing the movie. I think my comments may come off as negative to some extent, but I definitely encourage you to still go see the movie at some point if you'd like, and let me know your thoughts. So that's going to do it for Knock the Cabin. I give it a strong 2.5 to maybe a 3 out of 5. It was fine, but that's pretty much it. So thank you for sticking around. If you enjoyed this episode of Barnabas's Boneyard, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, share, all that stuff. And let us know what we can do to improve for the next video or even for the podcast, what you'd like to see, anything like that at all. We want to deliver the best content within the horror community that we possibly can. We want to be your go-to source for anything horror related. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you next time on Barnabas's Boneyard.